I love every single person that I work with. Like, I become friends with just about every single person that hires me. It's so sweet. Weddings are so sweet. Like, it's
Yeah,
mostly all people at their best. I mean, I know they're a little stressed out and crazy, but
yeah,
really, like, they're just so happy and in love and just happy for their people, you know?
yeah.
That's the good of it. Like, it just fills you with joy.
Welcome to the Unknown Options, the place where we explore the unknown options, the number one source for career apprehension and accessibility. My name is Will, and today with me, Becca. Becca, it's great to have you here. Give us a rundown on who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so my name's Becca. I am a wedding planner in the Charlotte area, and I go all over North Carolina or wherever people want to have me go. I live in like eastern side of Charlotte with my husband and our cat and our dog. Fun little family. So we love to travel. Huge coffee people, huge like Chinese food people, all the good stuff, you know. My background, I have experience. I got a degree in entrepreneurship, but I also have experience in event planning, marketing, project and like planning and management. Um, and yeah, I love and watching people get married and designing their days with them. And I'm really like I consider myself really creative. Obviously, that's a good thing to have with the job. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's kind of it.
I love it. You said coffee and Chinese. That's why you and Rand are so good friends. Your journey is important, so we want to highlight the good, the bad, and the ugly. For someone who might not know, what is a wedding planner?
So, a wedding planner is somebody that really helps you just walk through your entire wedding planning journey. It can start from the moment that you get engaged, or even before then, if you want to start before then. And it goes all the way through the wedding day, of course. And there's a bunch of different options in between. So, I can be somebody that's just there to kind of help you, advocate for you, set up, make sure your wedding runs and flows according to plan just on your day of. Or I can go, like I said, through the entire process with you start to finish, booking different vendors, creating a design and a look that you want to see, a vision that is cohesive throughout your day. Because it's a big day and you're going to have about 1,000 pictures to sort through. You want to like
Yeah,
how they look.
yeah.
So, and then I do anything in between too. I do like partial planning, month of planning, stuff like that, just kind of wherever people need me. Because
I love it.
everybody, has a different, they're type A or they're not, they have a
Yeah.
different journey in their kind of planning experience. And I'm really just there to kind of be an assistant and assistance and help them along the way. So
I love it. So unique career path. So how did you get started in it?
my mom coordinated weddings starting in like college or something for just like friends and family. Like no experience, just did it because she worked at a wedding dress shop and so she had a faint idea of like how a wedding operates. So ever since probably middle school, I started going along with her and I learned kind of like how to coordinate weddings, how they flow, all the kind of fun things. And then I got older and she was like, "Hey, you should start doing these like for our family in my place because I'm tired of it." And so I started doing it for family and just people that just kind of needed a little bit of help. Wedding planners, like I feel like at least in my personal life and my family and stuff like that, wasn't that big of a thing, especially like 5 years ago or whatever. Um, but like I didn't even have a wedding planner for my wedding. But as I got into it, I was like, this is fun. I like this. I have that creative side. Like I want to help people through this process. And I hated planning my own wedding, which is
Yeah.
hilarious because I'm a wedding planner.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I just needed somebody like in my corner, you
Yeah.
know? So the more I started, like I kept doing it for friends and family, the more I was like, I really like this and I'm kind of good at it. So I kind of wanted to make a business out of it. So
Definitely. I
yeah.
love it. You kind of answered it a little bit, but like why is wedding planning important?
Yeah. So just having somebody in your on your side, in your corner, from anything, just like helping advocate for you. Not that like people are against you or anything planning your wedding, but just
Yeah.
like having somebody to bounce ideas off of, having somebody to maybe if you need to defend you against your future mother-in-law, things like that.
Yeah.
And then also just like you would have some like calendar to keep you updated on things with work or things with personal life or whatever, it's the same thing,
Yeah.
just keeping you like on schedule and accountability to be able to achieve what you want to achieve in the time that you have and in the budget that you have. That's also a big thing is weddings are very expensive, or they can be, and they can get away from you. And so that's another thing. Sorry, it's my dog.
Are you good?
That's another thing that I want to help is people just being able to work within whatever budget they're looking at, because I don't want something to be unachievable because you have a smaller budget. Like I
Yeah.
want to be able to figure out, budget friendly ways, DIY ways to help your vision come to life and help manage the amount of money that you have to work with. So
What's what's the side note or side question? What's the average like budget for a wedding in Charlotte nowadays?
oh
2025.
my gosh. It really depends. I mean, there's everything from DIY, like church kind of weddings, to luxury weddings and events. So anywhere from 50,000 or so can be considered average. Most of the brides that I work with are 20 to 40,000 budgets. Some of them are a little bit smaller, some of them are a little bit higher, but that's kind of the average that I work with personally. There's a lot of wedding planners out there that only do luxury events, and they don't work with anything under, $75,000 budget. So it can really fluctuate. But I feel like 50 to 70 is probably like the average in Charlotte, because Charlotte's expensive. So
Interesting. But is there a lot you can get for like 20 to 40 that range? Like you know
you
how to make it.
can, I mean, you need to learn like cutting your guest count to really like maximize how you want your like event to look and the things that you want to offer your smaller amount of guests. Or, say for example, you really want alcohol, cut liquor. It's going to cut a huge chunk like out of your budget if you have liquor, that kind of thing. So it's mainly like you can still have a gorgeous, exactly what you envision day on a smaller budget if you just know how to prioritize and where to really place those funds and how to kind of work around some things too.
I
So
love it.
yeah, you totally
Okay.
can.
I love it. Okay. I know you mentioned earlier that you said you had a degree in entrepreneurship. Is college required to be a wedding planner?
Totally not. Everything, almost everything, is experience and connections. So I have a degree in entrepreneurship, which is super helpful when it comes to like marketing and taxes and all the
Yeah.
not so fun sides of owning a business.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like working in the wedding industry, being a wedding planner or any other type of wedding vendor, it's all experience, it's all connections, who you know, where you kind of get in, stuff like that. And it's so much more than like a basic education. It's proving yourself in your creativity, in your time management, in your ability to run a successful event. So, yeah, definitely not. I mean, my education isn't specifically in event management or anything. It's
Okay.
a lot more of, like I said, just knowing how to successfully run a wedding day.
Love it. Okay. Do you think there will be more wedding planners in the future, or do you think there'll be less?
My experience and everybody that I've talked to and work with, I think that the respect and identifying how valuable wedding planners is growing. So I definitely think there'll be more in the future, because I think that that is with every venue that I worked at and a lot of vendors that I worked at, photographers, venues, they're starting to require coordinators and planners a lot more than they ever were in the past, because they realize that that's way more work than they want to do, and that's a whole job on its own. So, yeah,
Makes sense.
I
Okay.
definitely think it's a growing thing.
Okay. That makes sense. Give us your day to day and you, I guess, or I guess like start to finish. You can give us like the speedy version of you like coordinating a successful wedding.
Yeah.
Like,
So, side note, I didn't fully explain slash define. Wedding planners is somebody that kind of works with you throughout your whole planning journey, finding and booking vendors, creating a whole vision, bringing that all together, and planning a successful event. There's a whole other job, but it's also within a wedding planner's job, is to be a coordinator. And that's somebody that will successfully like execute your event. So coordinators can be like, that can be its own thing. You can hire a wedding coordinator. I offer just coordination. So you plan your whole wedding, you fill me in on the details, and I show up and I make sure that your day flows smoothly and everything goes according to plan. versus a wedding planner obviously does the planning part too. So
Yeah.
just so you know, there's
Oh,
like if you're planning, you're automatically coordinating, but if you're coordinating, you're not automatically planning, if that makes sense.
yeah, perfect sense. Perfect sense. Makes
So
perfect
yeah,
sense.
anyways, all that being said, successful wedding day. Obviously, it has a lot to do with your vendors, your team, who's by your side, who's helping that day go well. So, from the very start of planning, it's like finding good vendors, finding not only good vendors that are good and reputable in what they do, but somebody that you jive with because you are working with them a lot and you want your personality to show through what they do. And it's best if they know you, and
Yeah.
they share a similar style to you. So that helps a lot. Obviously, there's a lot of back end on like making layouts, making timelines, making sure like there's a million meetings with every single vendor to make sure that the caterers and the hair and makeup and the florist and the wedding like photographer are all on the same schedule. Otherwise, obviously, it's just going to clash and
Yeah.
not flow for a good day. And then the day of the event, it's really just like my job is to set up to make sure that along with the caterers and the florists, that all the design and the setup looks well. And then my job is to just kind of manage your background people, your photographers, videographers, DJ, officiant, your guest, your venue people, making sure that they all know where they're supposed to be, what they're supposed to be doing, and making sure you're staying on a schedule. It doesn't have to be so tight and like terrible sounding, but it can really just be
Yeah.
like, hey, you had 30 minutes to talk to all your guests. It's time to cut that cake now.
Yeah.
Just somebody kind of reminding you and keeping you on schedule so that at the end of the night, you had the amount of dancing that you wanted to have. You exited when you wanted to, things like
Yeah.
that.
Makes sense. I know at my wedding, we definitely didn't have. We realized like the next day we didn't have any words. Like we didn't. Me and Ray didn't speak at once the whole entire wedding.
No way.
Yeah, we didn't. We were having a good time though. But we were
Yeah,
like, wait, we were like in Mexico. We were like, yo, we didn't even speak at the wedding.
that's so
But
funny.
yeah, so we would definitely appreciated that. Yeah, it
Yeah.
makes sense. Okay, all right. So we're gonna go to the not so speed round. It's a not so speed round. So it's gonna I'm ask you a couple questions, and you can give us like what first comes to your head or a thought out answer. What are 4 words that describe a wedding planner?
Okay. Creative. Uh, Hold on. I gotta think for a second. Creative, organized. What's the word for like on time?
Okay. Yeah, I
Whatever
like it.
that word is that I can't think of. And then supportive. I think more
Okay,
than anything, like it's your day and it's your vision, and they're there to help support that and make that come to life more than anything.
I like
So,
it. I was going to actually elaborate on supportive, but you did, so it makes sense. What's a profession that's like that you would think is most like being a wedding planner?
obviously, I can say event planner because duh, like it's an event that you're planning and executing. I guess in not such like a direct one would maybe be a teacher
Mhm. Okay.
because you're planning not only a single day's schedule, you're dealing with a lot of rowdy, crazy kids. Um, but you're also planning like a whole, semester or year of something and making it all come together in the end to provide an education. I'm providing a wedding day. So,
Okay, I like
yeah.
it. It's good. That's a good example. Okay, I like it. What does society, or better yet, Charlotte look like without a wedding planner or wedding planners?
Um, I mean, life goes on. People still have weddings without wedding planners. People are a lot more stressed. Probably taking some more time off work to get it done because
Sure.
planning your own wedding, it's obviously like it's my whole job because it's a whole job. So everybody that I talk to that's like started on their own, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know how you could do this and another job. Like this is so much."
Yeah.
But so people would be busy and
Yeah.
stressed. I think that venues would be a lot more expensive. Venues are already expensive. I mean, you're looking at like $10,000 easy for a venue.
Mhm.
But venues would be a lot more expensive because it would fall a lot more on venue like management
Mhm.
to help you plan, help you coordinate your day, and do stuff that they don't want to do. So they would charge more to include that stuff. Because
That makes
somebody's
sense.
got to make the timeline, somebody's got to make the layout, make sure that everybody's on the same page.
Definitely.
And I
That
wouldn't
makes
be
sense.
surprised if that fell to venues a lot of the time.
Dang.
So,
Okay.
or
Okay.
photographers. I know a lot of photographers would charge more or just do something different to help that.
Inter-
Because if
Interesting.
they don't have a wedding planner, the venue and the photographer are most negatively affected by that because they
Mm,
end up doing a lot of the things that the wedding planner slash coordinator should be doing.
interesting. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. What's the good, the bad, and ugly about being a wedding planner?
That's a good question. The good is obviously like I love every single person that I work with. Like I become friends with just about every single person that hires me. It's so sweet. Weddings are so sweet. Like it's
Yeah.
mostly all people at their best. I mean, I know they're a little stressed out and crazy, but really
Yeah.
like they're just so happy and in love and just happy for their people, you know?
Yeah.
That's the good of it. Like it just fills you with joy. The bad is probably like in the same way. People are stressed out. People do have a lot going on. They're not always their best versions of themselves, especially in the planning process. Also sometimes people drink way too much and you got to deal with them. That's
Mm,
another thing to deal with.
yeah.
And then the ugly is just honestly like the amount of time. Sorry, that's my dog again.
Yeah.
The amount of time, the amount of work, effort, energy is a lot of times really, really like overseen or people don't notice it, I guess. And so it's hard sometimes to be like, hey, this is a ton of work that I'm doing, and then it looks like this much, you know?
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
it's just like a fine balance of obviously like being respected, knowing my worth, and people being willing to pay that because a lot of times they're like, I can do it. You're not doing that much, you know,
Wow.
that kind of thing. So I think that's like a little bit of a hard back and forth and like making sure that I'm valuing myself and my time and blah 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 as well because it's sometimes hard to make it's hard to show how much work it
Yeah.
is, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Hard to articulate your value to people that don't see it
yeah.
sometimes. Little it makes sense. And that ties actually into the next question is like, are wedding planners overpaid or underpaid?
Oh, 100% underpaid.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like if you broke it down by hours of work
Mm.
and places traveled and things picked up and all the kind of stuff, wedding planners would charge way more than they do.
So are wedding planners, do they usually charge like per hour or is it kind of like a flat rate fee usually
It's normally a flat rate, just kind of
Mm.
depending on the overall wedding. Um, Obviously, like it kind of changes if the guest count's huge or if it's a whole weekend versus a single day
Yeah.
or whatever. But in general, it's not by hour, or else it would be like you couldn't. There's so much behind the scenes work and research throughout the day, every single day on vendors or on design or just curating things for the client. It would be like an insane amount of hours to charge.
I got you. Okay.
So
That
it
makes
goes
sense.
back to that whole like it's hard to articulate value because think about like you're doing research to find I can say a vendor or somebody to interview or whatever.
Yeah.
And it might seem like it would only take you 30 minutes and it ends up taking you half the day, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
to
100%.
find the right fit for
Definitely.
whatever. So
Definitely.
yeah.
I agree. Okay. That's good. That's a good answer. Okay. Name one person, book, or event that changed your life for the better, and then why?
Oh. Um Probably event for me, obviously, 'cause I do weddings. My best friend got married February 2022, so almost a year ago. And
Mhm.
she was like, it was recently after I'd started the business. I had only had one wedding, like a really small backyard wedding at the time. And she had like a huge, gorgeous wedding, like big budget. And she picked me to be her wedding planner and
Nice.
coordinator. And I was able to do all that. And it kickstarted my career more than I think like anything else would have. And it
Nice.
just like set me up for success in so many ways. And she had such great vendors that I had such a unique opportunity to work with that I don't think I would have gotten there unless she trusted me to like put me in that position as like a newbie in the
Yeah.
job. So, and then she just like advocated for me, gave me awesome reviews, all the kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So I think like more than anything, like that changed so much of the trajectory of where I'm at now, because I think without that initial kickstart, like I think I wouldn't have had half as many weddings as I have already, to the budget, the extent, like the size, all the kind of stuff that I have had because of hers. So
I like it. That's a good friend. A lot of friends, they were like, I don't, I used to do real estate. I mean, I still do a little bit, but like when I first started, nobody I knew would
right.
trust me to do anything. They're like, you're 18. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
trusting someone else.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good
You need
friend.
that like one person to give you a chance, pretty much.
Exactly.
So she was that person.
Yeah, I love it. That's a good friend. Shout out her. I know her name is.
Yes.
Okay, last question. Let's say somebody else watches the interview and they want to become a wedding planner. What are the steps that you give them to get where you're at currently?
Yeah. So, the first thing that I would suggest is like make sure you want to own your own business if you're wanting to go that route, because it's a whole other thing to like just deal with the backside of owning a business, making sure that you're legal and you're registered properly and you're doing your taxes right and just all the different things. And it can be a headache that a lot of people don't realize until they're in it, and then they want to back out and they don't want to do that anymore, and it can just like take time away from them. Like if they would much rather say, "Hey, I don't want to own my own business," maybe you should look at wedding planning companies that hire lots of different planners, and you might want to work underneath somebody. And so I would say, like, if you figure that out first, it'll save you some time in determining, are you starting from scratch down here all by yourself? Are
Yeah,
you starting up here at another company and they're
yeah.
teaching you the ropes and you're getting more experience through that versus like hoping a friend gives you an opportunity for experience,
Yeah,
to kickstart your career. So I
definitely.
would say figuring that out first would be huge, and saving you time or helping you just kind of figure out where to start. And then the other thing that I would suggest, and it's a lot of the same for a lot of different creative jobs, is like invest in yourself, first of all, when it comes to like, buy nice things to make shoots with, to create like photo shoots, pay photographers to, you know, shoot things for you so that you have content, you have things to show people,
Yeah,
that kind
yeah.
of stuff. So I would just say like investing in yourself and believing in yourself, and don't like wait for people to come to you. Come to them with your creativeness and
Mhm.
your individuality, and they'll love you for it. And that'll kind of help you kickstart everything.
I like that. Come to them with your your
Yeah.
creativeness. I like that. That's good. Okay. Okay. This has been a wonderful interview. Give a shout out to your business where people can find you and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so it's Wildflower Events, wildflower-events.com, or on Instagram, I'm wildflower events underscore NC. So you can follow me on Instagram, and check out my website. And that's really the main two places that I'm at. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And I'll put them in the thumbnail too for the
Cool.
video so everyone can just click on them. Thank you, Becca. This has been a great episode. Everyone, if you're still tuned in, please like, comment, subscribe, and go follow all of Becca's pages. Show her some love. Thank you, Becca. Y'all have a nice night.